Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we got a special treat. We have one of the co-founders from Divi, Nick Saponaro. I'm a little late in coming to the Divi game, but I'm really impressed, and I was really interested in it. I had some close friends that were really excited about it and had been talking to me about it, so I did some research, looked into it, and I'm really interested in it. I really like it a lot. Actually going to start a Masternode, which everyone that's followed my channel knows I used to be really into Masternodes until a few months ago. I just kind of gave up on them. So Nick, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me, Sean.
Glad you're here, man. Glad you're here. You're in California, right?
Yep, San Diego.
Cool. My buddy was out there. Never been there. He always asked me to go visit him in San Diego, but I never did.
You should come
Yeah.
out anytime.
Yeah, he said it's really nice. It was expensive though. Remember, he bought a house and he told me it was like $500,000, but it was a fixer-upper, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
I'm from Texas, so that buys a lot of house down here. You know what I mean?
yeah, almost everywhere else. It's getting way more ridiculous. I mean, depending on when your buddy bought that house, he might be sitting on a gold mine right now.
Yeah, it was probably 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's probably a solid investment.
That was before he moved to Virginia and became a spy. But he doesn't like me talking about that.
Is his first name Edward?
No. It was funny when he went to spy school because he was really excited. He'd be like, "Dude, you don't believe what we learned today. I can make a key from a bar of soap and pick any lock."
See, those skills would be so cool to have, I feel like.
That's what he was like, "Yeah, this is cool, man. I'm gonna use this all the time."
Yeah.
But then we get really pissed because he's like, "Did you tell him that I'm a spy?" I'm like, "No, maybe." He's like, "You can't tell people I'm a spy, Sean. It's not cool." But he was my best friend. Named my which I have two sets of twins. The first set is Nick and Robert. So, but I named Robert after him. So we're really good friends. But he joined the military and then didn't like it. Got out and then went back when he was older. We were both I think we just hit like 30. And he's like, "I want to be a Navy SEAL." I'm like, "Dude, you're like 31. You can't." He goes, "No, I'm going to do it." So he went. And he was like, "I'm not the oldest guy here. There's a dude here who's like 33. And then he would call me like once a week. And then he called me like 2 weeks later. He's like, "All right, that guy washed out. I'm the oldest guy here."
It's a difficult process.
Yeah, he
You
made
made
it
it
through. Yeah, he went through.
Wow.
Then he became a SEAL instructor and then went to Langley.
Wow. It's impressive.
Let's get into old Divi here. If you could tell me a little bit about your background and just how you got into crypto, and then somehow you got into Divi, and then if we can go over the basics of it, because it's very huge but very simple in two aspects. Go ahead.
Of course. So I got my start in technology at a young age. I was one of those kids who was super into computers, and pretty much anything I could unscrew and take apart and put back together, I was doing that. And that led me into hardware early on. Pretty much right out of high school, I started a computer company, and we were selling custom builds to miners, actually, primarily, and gamers too. But we sold a lot of mining rigs, Bitcoin mining rigs, which is how I first kind of even was made aware of Bitcoin in the first place. But I didn't really pay attention to it. I was just like, all right, these computers are selling for 20 grand. I'm definitely just going to keep building this. So of course the profit wasn't 20 grand, but nevertheless, time went by. We closed that company down. It didn't succeed. And I just went back to doing like freelance web development stuff. Eventually, I decided to take this to more of a pro level, got certified in it. And at the same time I was getting certified, I was contacted by a buddy of mine who said, "Hey, we're working on this cryptocurrency." And I was like, "No way." Because I had bought Ethereum like 2 years before that or something like that. I think it was 2015 when I purchased Ethereum for the first time. But I kind of didn't like pay attention to it after a while. After the DAO happened, I was really soured on it. I lost a bunch of money, and just kind of forgot about it. I still had some ETH, but didn't care. But when he told me about this project, I was like, you know what, that sounds really cool. I'd love to work on it. I got nothing going on really, some stupid freelance gigs, but nothing long term. So I got the opportunity to take that on right as Divi was starting, and was able to contribute to the white paper because I had done a fair amount of research on cryptocurrency, and I had read Andreas Antonopoulos' book and things like that, Mastering Bitcoin, which I highly recommend to anybody who's trying to understand Bitcoin. At any rate, it was a great opportunity for me to sort of get in on the ground floor, so to speak. And soon thereafter, I became a co-founder of the project. And I guess kind of the rest is history. I've been working here now almost like 3.5 years. Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that you were like into crypto. You knew about crypto or into crypto, but you weren't, that into it. I think that's a lot of people get into it that way. I mean, I did. It's years and years and years ago, Bitcoin was worthless. But I used to buy my kids these T-shirts online, and this place started taking Bitcoin, and I heard about it, and I'm like, what is Bitcoin? And my kid, Nick, he's the only one that knew. He's like, oh, it's a digital currency and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what do you mean? You just make it up? It's like fake? And he's no, it's because you have to mine it. And then he tried to explain, solving a block. I'm like, that's stupid. You're just making it. Why can't I just make 1,000 of them then? I'm like, it doesn't work that way. And it's like, what gives it back? And then I was like, whatever. So I went through all the crap of getting probably 700-800 Bitcoin to buy a shirt. Bought the shirt. I probably had like 15 or 30 Bitcoin, and that computer's in the trash.
Right.
So, but I was like, that was a lot of work, and it was really weird. So I'm not, that was dumb. Enjoy your shirt. And then years later, I mean, I kept hearing more about it, and I couldn't understand it. Didn't want to try to understand it. But then it went up to like hundreds of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a financial advisor. I understood that, you know what I mean? And then I looked at it from purely like a technical analysis and speculative point of view. And I was like, well, this is good. I don't understand that, but I understand a lot of things, but I understand this. So that's how I started to get into it. And then once, you're really into it, like you really started really learning about it, researching it, or part of the project, then you understand so much more. You understand so much more about just economics and the way the real economics, not, what you learn, but how things are, the Ponzi scheme of the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
totally. It totally opens your eyes.
Yeah, it opens your eyes, and it really changes you to everything. And then you see crypto for what it's for what the future of it is. The future of, mankind. It sounds so cliche, but, it really is like the next step in currency. If you look at, seashells to hard money to paper to, it's, 100 years from now, people are going to look back and like, fiat will just be a little footnote in history of the development. Speaking of that, could you go over Divi, what it is and what your aims are?
Sure. Well, like many people, we looked at cryptocurrency and saw many of the benefits, but it's hard for people to see those benefits because, well, it's really difficult to get involved in the first place. There's really no, point of contact for cryptocurrency. The information that is out there is kind of unreliable, and then the technologies themselves are rudimentary at best, as far as the actual end user experience. So we decided that we would focus on the user experience. It worked really well for Apple. It worked really well for Tesla. So we thought, why don't we bring a user experience focus to cryptocurrency, and then people will see the benefits. So the first thing that we did was to create a way for the network to build, because probably the most impressive thing about Bitcoin is the network effect that it's had over the course of the last 11 years, right? And so how do you do that again? It's really difficult to build new networks, especially with proof of work. But with proof of stake, and especially with masternodes, you have this low barrier to entry for earning cryptocurrency. And we thought if we could just make it easy for people to set up a masternode, I bet you we can create a huge network that's really well collateralized. And that's exactly what happened. So we devised a strategy that allows for people to enter masternodes at various levels. So we were actually the first to publish the concept of a tiered masternode system, but we weren't the first one to create it. And we definitely were the first to make the first truly one-click masternode. And as we've seen, the two major issues with masternodes, the first of which is people dumping their rewards, and the second of which is actually getting it set up in the first place, have been solved by Divi. So because of the tiers, people actually end up saving their rewards so they can get to the next level and earn more money. And with the one click,
the gamification of it.
Totally. And it totally, that's totally a credit to Jeff McCabe, our CEO and my business partner. He devised this concept and it has worked beautifully. But obviously you can't just have masternodes. Just like you said, the allure wears off.
That's what they are now. That's what masternodes. I had talked to you about it. We were talking about the housing market gap and wealth income gap. The masternodes have really created that third. Because before there were decent nodes, there were decent projects, and it turned into Dash, Pivot, like a handful of quality, but they were so far out of reach for the average investor.
Yeah.
And then there was just crap and scams, and a lot of them they're not even scams. They come out, it's like, this is a new project and a new coin. We have masternodes. Well, what's your project? We have masternodes.
We have masternodes. Exactly.
Well, what are you going to do? We're going to be a masternodes. and you can get some of the coins.
Yeah.
Like, but what's going to happen? What's your roadmap? Well, first, we're going to have these many masternodes, and then the reward goes to this. And it's basically, they're just laying it out there. And then, I used to do like a weekly update on all my masternodes, and it got to where I was even saying, these are all scams. What you do is you ride the scam as long as you can. Find this one, and this one just started, so I'm getting into this. I've got 3 nodes. Hopefully this will last 3 or 4 weeks. I'll make, a decent amount, and then I can dump as everyone else is dumping. We'll get out. Right. And it's like, this is stupid, man. It's not, it's not what it was designed for. It's not, there's nothing about securing a network. There's no point in it. It's just.
Right. What's the network do?
Yeah, it has masternodes.
Exactly.
You secure them, and then you get more coins for the masternodes. But
that's very true. That's very true.
I was explaining Divi to my son, and I've explained stuff a million times. They don't care. But when Dad talks about his magic internet money, but I was talking about proof of work versus proof of stake, and then when you just explain it on such a basic level, it makes so much more sense. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When you talk about, proof, it's like, so it's your I was like, no, miners is proof of work, environment, cost, blah, 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 blah. Proof of work does this. It's the same thing, but it's, either it's on a dedicated server, either a cloud server, someone could set up their own server, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. It's just like, yeah, it does. So I think proof of stake is really the way to go. On the masternodes, like I said, I've done a bunch of masternodes. One of the biggest things is some are ridiculously technical. I mean, I don't know. I worked for Microsoft. I worked for Xbox, and people I consider myself like an idiot, when it comes to technology. But then all my friends think I'm some super tech guru. But I have friends that still say the computers. And when they say computers, they do this. Like, hey, you know about the computers? I'm like, oh. So okay, I can understand, its perspective. But I remember, when I wanted to talk about the masternodes, it literally is one click. There's it's almost like it's like an app for dummies. When you go into the wallet to set it up, you just click on masternodes, the little, lightning bolt, and then you just get choices. Do you want to do this one? Copper, silver, gold, platinum, diamond. Right. And it even tells you don't have enough for that. It's so basic. And it's click. Most things, it's, at best, at easiest, it's copy, paste, and a little typing. I mean, then that's it at easiest. And then some, you literally have to be like some kind of programmer to set them up.
Right.
You know?
And even then, it's a
Yeah.
difficult process.
So you've made it super, super easy to set it up. I'm jumping around, but I wanted to ask about updating the wallet, because even on the super, using a hosting service, where it's just a little bit of copy and pasting, updating the wallet is still very, very difficult. I remember I was in a training thing for Microsoft, and someone said something that the trainer was like, as everybody knows, you just hit the Windows key and something, and it brings up the Microsoft Store. And then I was like, whoa, hold on. What do you do? He's like, everyone knows that. I was like, no one knows that.
Everyone knows.
I said, dude, no one knows what that key is. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
I said, no one knows what the Microsoft or what the little Windows key is for. They think it just brings up the menu. He said, everybody knows there's a whole list of automatic executable programs. If you just hit the window and something, that's like, no one knows that, dude. I work here. I didn't know that. They're like, yeah. So anyway, to update your wallet, you've got to hit like Windows R, and then you get the special menu. You got to put like %, app data, %, all this other stuff to get the menu to go into the actual wallet.
Oof.
To pull. And this is like the easy Masternodes.
See, the biggest mistake you can make as a developer, as a product person, whatever you're doing in technology, is to assume that the user is going to know anything about your product. I mean, you might have all the documentation in the world out there. Let me give you a hint. They ain't reading it. They're not going to read all your blogs. They're not going to watch your videos. The program literally has to guide you to success, which is fine because we have all the tools to build that type of stuff. And yet, I mean, that was one of the first things we implemented was auto updates in the Divi wallet. So it's as simple as opening your wallet, you get the little notification, download and install. Boom. Or you don't have to.
See, I got it and I did it, and I was like, no, this can't be it. I want to make sure I ask you that on any kind of big updates, you don't have to go in, open a new wallet, go in, get the wallet DAT, Masternode DAT, all that, transfer those files. You don't have to do any of that stuff.
Nope.
That's amazing. That's a massive barrier.
It has to be that easy because that's what users expect, right? Do you have to go through that insane process with any other app? What's that? I lost you.
I said that's what real users expect, but most people, most developers and people don't think that way. They think, oh, everyone has half the knowledge I do, a quarter of the knowledge I do. And most people, I mean, I did tech support for Xbox. People don't know what the address bar is.
Exactly.
And I know it's funny, but it's literally there's a lot of people.
It's true.
I'm like, in the address bar, what's that? I know how to do the Google. And most people, dude, they just search and then they hit the top result.
Right.
And they don't know you put in an actual address into that bar. They don't know what it is. Not most, but a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So there's no way that this would fly without what you've done. And I don't know any project that has a one-click update like that.
Well, thank you, man. I'm really appreciative to hear you say that. And it's funny because we just went through the process of updating. We did a big, basically mandatory update to the core, the actual blockchain daemon, and we realized, wow, we have to update the Mochi, the Masternode mode, the cloud installer, the cloud deployed nodes, which there are like 700 of or 600 of. So that taught us a really big lesson about like, okay, we need to automate builds. We need to automate updates across all of these and keep it secure. And so even that now is pretty much one click on our end. So, we're going to hard fork here soon in the near future. Users aren't going to have to worry about that at all. Everything is seamless. That's the goal with Divi, is just having a seamless user experience. That's world class.
See, no one that I've watched or listened to or researched has talked about that. And I don't think a lot of people were as involved in Masternodes as I was. But whenever you hear the word mandatory update, everything entails just, you cringe. And if you don't do it, you're screwing yourself. because your
Right.
wallet will still run, and it'll run weird. You'll start getting double, triple rewards,
Hmm.
and if you think, hey, this is great, man, no,
No,
because that
it's not
mandatory
real.
update, well, yeah, once you redo it, you've lost like a month's worth of rewards. All that
Yep.
money's gone because you didn't do the update. And I mean, if you go into those files, there's so many. It's like
Hmm.
first one, this is the next one, because every time you've got to reopen a new wallet and you have to transfer just the certain files over with the master node and all that. But then I still have all these junk files from before the updates.
Yeah.
It's
It
just,
causes you anxiety as a user, literally.
I mean, you don't know how big of a deal what you've done is. It's insane, and I think
Thank you.
that's what the people that really, know what master nodes can do. What, that it's that you've really done a great job, man. I really didn't. I thought you were going to tell me, well, yeah, when you update, you actually do have to. I didn't expect you to say that. That was it. About the atomic swaps, are they still coming?
Yes, we are testing them right now, actually. If anybody watching this is a developer or just really, really into crypto, we're open beta testing it right now on our, I'll call it the post fork network, if you will. It's just a test net that mimics what the network will look like after the fork. So you can grab that off our GitHub, and we have a bunch of videos and stuff like that to get started if you're interested in contributing to that. But yeah, so our atomic swaps. I mean, obviously, atomic swaps. There's nothing new about the concept, right? But again, the experience isn't always seamless. I really like some of the ETH atomic swap options out there, like Komodo and things like that, which seem to work really well. But that's just Ethereum and ERC20 coins. There's nothing really simplistic for UTXO based blockchains, like pretty much everything that's not ERC20. So our biggest concern was actually we took it from a developer experience standpoint because we knew that user experience was obviously going to be up to what we would expect, like what we have with Mochi. But we realized that a big part of atomic swaps is running your own nodes and peer-to-peer swapping with people without using a light client if you want. And the options that are out there for that right now are insanely difficult. We just went through the process of setting one up. I won't name them, but it took 7 days to set this up. With ours, it's one command. You just set up a single server with our API running on it, and it's literally one endpoint that you hit as a developer, and you can do the swap. Right now, it's just Bitcoin to Divi or vice versa, but we'll obviously be integrating more coins here soon. But yeah, I mean, that's a big part of our wallet, our Divi 2.0 wallet that'll be coming out here very, very soon.
On that, yeah, I know you're also looking at Litecoin, which is cool.
Yep.
But on our atomic swaps going to be available in the desktop as well as the app.
Yeah, definitely. So the coolest part about Divi 2.0, that's kind of just what we call it, is the fact that the whole experience from desktop to mobile is 100% seamless. So, and it remains decentralized. So unlike where on most wallets you have to like go on and recover with your seed phrase and do this and that, we
Yeah.
have, so there's no need
To me,
for that.
that's seamless. To me, that work is seamless, man.
Yeah, but most people are used to like Telegram's a good example. On Telegram, on your phone, I have all my chats. I go on my desktop, same chats are there. I can literally go back and forth instantly. That's how Divi 2.0 operates as well. We've built the infrastructure with basically a decentralized peer-to-peer database structure so that you can remain distributed, remain decentralized and anonymous, but still share your account between multiple devices. So you'll end up, it's kind of difficult to explain. I don't want to get super deep into the technical details, but it'll work similarly to how Telegram does, where it's instantly updating across both platforms instantly.
That is very, very cool. Since we touched on this a little bit, as far as you said, Mimic, which made me think of Nimic, which is something that y'all are connected with the bank. Now, I had been following that for a while. I think that they was it Token Pay and Nimic, and there was one other. They had bought stake in a German bank,
Right.
like 20%, I believe, or 15%. Not quite a controlling legal,
Share,
controlling
right.
amount, right? And then have y'all come in, and is what's going on with that?
So yeah, so our deals are separate from them, of course. Nimic, those guys are awesome. We're really close friends with them. They're also Costa Rican based, just like Divi. So actually got a chance to tour their dev hideaway. So freaking cool, man, down in Costa Rica. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, we bought 30% of a remittance company in Costa Rica. And we basically, with our investment, turned the remittance company into what's called a fintech. We're not allowed to call it a bank because it doesn't offer any sort of fractional reserve lending or anything like that.
Oh
But for
no.
all, yeah, oh God. But for all intents and purposes, it is basically a bank. It offers international bank account numbers. It can do SWIFT, ACH, SEPA transfers, all of that stuff.
That's like saying we open a butcher store, but we're not going to kill people. It's like, okay,
Exactly.
that's good.
Yeah, right, exactly. Just got to make the attorneys happy, right? So, at any rate, we're able to do all these banking features all over the world, including offering low-income accounts which require low KYC requirements. So, with an ID and a phone number, you can actually sign up for an account that has a $1,500 a month limit, and this is all integrated into the Divi 2.0 app. So we're building this hybrid ecosystem between crypto and fiat, because the biggest issue for people isn't necessarily understanding what crypto is. Like once you cross the hurdle of why it might be beneficial, it's like, okay, well, how do I get started? Well, you know, maybe you go to Coinbase, maybe you go, but the problem is that it's so fragmented across the value chain that you end up losing everyone who tries, really.
Yeah.
Maybe they buy Bitcoin and then they just leave it in Coinbase. They don't even understand why that's not a good idea, you know? So we're trying to solve that issue.
That brings me to another question. End result, or one of the end goals is you're going to want to issue debit cards.
Yeah, that's one of the opportunities we have with the Divi.
Will that come from the bank in Germany, and is that going to be available in the United States?
Yeah, so it comes from the bank in Costa Rica. We're not affiliated with the German bank, just to be clear. But yes, it is through the Costa Rican entity. It isn't from necessarily the Costa Rican entity. You actually have to basically get someone to underwrite those cards for you. But yeah, that's how it'll work essentially.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and talking about that is the biggest thing, man. I mean, you can give someone crypto, but when they try to come in or can I turn this into money? Yeah, just you need to go on exchange or whatever. And I can tell you, everyone goes through it, and then they get to the point they're like, they want me to send them a selfie of myself holding up a piece of paper. Dude, that's weird. No.
Yeah.
Keep your $20, Sean. No. Right. Y'all are strange. You and all your people. No.
Yeah.
No one. It's nowhere. Is your bank be like, hey man, send me a picture of you.
Yeah, it's strange.
Hold up a piece of paper with today's date and my name on it. You know what I mean? It's weird, man. It really is.
Yeah, like where does that go? But the beauty of owning a controlling stake in a fintech like this, we're actually able to pass KYC information to and from our entities in the background, so you're not doing these weird things all the time. I mean, I've done KYC on several exchanges, and I've always wished that they could just transfer the KYC to the next exchange, but they can't because they have no affiliation. That changes with us.
Okay, let's hit these masternodes and some of that stuff. And I'm probably going to make you uncomfortable because I'm going to talk to you about stuff that you people don't like talking about. First off, Divi, it's done very well. It's almost 10x in the past year. Since February, it's been like 8 some x through what's been a turbulent time in crypto. That's pretty freaking impressive. Now, when it comes to the masternodes, the gamification is cool. You can start out with a copper, which is like what, $1,100, $1,200?
Something like that. I haven't checked the price recently, but yeah, around there.
And then silver is what, 300,000 Divi, which is like a penny 0.2 or something right now. And then gold, silver, platinum is $1 million.
3 million.
3 million?
Yeah, gold's a
gold's a
million.
million, platinum's 3 million. Okay. Now, these are paying in a lot. Once you get past the coppers, it's kind of like, hey, just set up a master. I used to tell people, just set up a masternode, or buy a miner. I used to be a miner
Mm-hmm.
until I set my man cave on fire.
Oof.
But yeah, you don't run like 5 miners off one outlet; it'll catch on fire. But it just because you could go on eBay, buy yourself a miner for $100, $200, and then you're doing it. You're securing, the Bitcoin network or whatever, and you're in it. It's fun, and that's how I think I was able to get some people into crypto.
Yeah.
But like, I think the silver is where you really start. That's like 150 a month that's coming in, and then it's I think it's like 3,000. Gold is when you get serious, but the gold's paying in like $500 a month worth of Divi at current rates. And I think this is where we talked about the income gap, and where you've got these super expensive masternodes like Dash and a couple others. And it's either, most your average Joe, you're 35, 45, you've got your 401k, people have saved up a decent amount for like long-term retirement and stuff. But to get a Dash node, literally you would take your entire life savings and buy a $130,000 Dash node to make 7%. When your 401k invested in, your mutual funds is already pulling in close to that. So it's not worth it anymore.
Right.
What is it? Yeah, Horizon's the only thing I think is even comparable, and that's still like 12,000. And that's paying in 5%. That's making about 5% with Horizon, which is literally the best one that I've seen and that I would recommend to people. But it's still 12 grand to make 5%.
Yeah.
Not there. Now, the Divi nodes are paying like 40 to 45, 50% is what they're returning per year, which is insane. And I know past performance is not indicative of future, but and I'm not your financial advisor. It's not financial advice. So you do your own research, and it's all on you. But that's a huge gap. It's a huge difference. The nodes themselves and the performance are so impressive. As far as the levels go, before we go into that, could you hit on the lottery nodes? And that is for stakers, not for the node holders, right?
Sure. Okay. That's correct. That is correct. Yeah, the lottery block, it's a super block, right? So it's just essentially 50 Divi from every minted block over the course of a week, so 10,080 blocks. 50 Divi gets pushed into this super block that's eventually mined. So a lot of people, there's like a misconception about lottery blocks that we just like make more out of thin air. No, the money is already being allocated throughout the week. Then when the 10,080th, 81st block, whatever is mined, there's a super block which pays out 11 people. One gets 252,000 Divi and 10 get 25,200 Divi, just as a reward. And it's kind of a chance-based thing for supporting the network as a staker, because the staking rewards are technically less, even though the frequency is the same. The amount is less. So that's their, little benefit, whatever. It's really fun. And you see people coming into the Telegram during that, last couple hours before the lottery block is minted. Oh, it's only 6 minutes. People have countdown timers and who's going to win this week. And it's really fun because literally somebody with 10,000 Divi staking could win 252,000 Divi, which is a huge windfall, obviously. And it's been a great way to keep people engaged.
That was my next question for you, because Masternode holders don't qualify for those blocks because they get a higher reward all through the week. But I want you to know what the minimum was for staking, to be included. So it's 10,000, and can you run a node and stake at the same time to qualify?
Sure, definitely. As long as the difference with staking is you have to have your computer running or your server running all the time, which will change with Divi 2.0 actually as well with our staking vault technology.
Hmm.
which is a non-custodial solution for cold staking.
Okay, on that, to get more technical, do you have to have your computer running the entire week, or can you only have it running the day of the lottery block, or does it have to be running running more than it is not running in order to qualify?
Basically, every stake that you win is called a lottery ticket. Um, so as long as you have UTXOs in that 10,080 block run, you are qualified. So you could technically win with one UTXO.
But your chances go up the longer you're running your computer.
Yeah, the more stakes you win, obviously, just like
The more tickets you buy. Yeah. Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, it's unlike statistical odds of buying a lottery ticket, where the more you buy doesn't necessarily give you a better chance statistically. Like when you play roulette, each spin is a new statistical odd at winning. It's a very common misconception when people gamble. This isn't a gamble; it's just chance, basically.
I had a question on the Masternodes. I was trying to bring my wallet up. Um, when you're going to set them up, it says you have a higher chance than copper. You know what I'm talking
Right.
about?
Right.
Higher
Yep.
chance of
Earning a masternode reward. So each level of masternode has a increased chance of actually winning the reward or earning the reward. So diamond is like 20 times more likely to earn a reward than copper.
and that's why the rewards are paid out more frequently to the higher class nodes than the copper.
That's 100% right. But the amount is always the same. It's always 540.
Okay.
540
Okay.
Divi.
Well, that's cool. Multicoin wallets coming out.
That's right. Yep.
Can you go over that? And what's your roadmap looking like for 2020? I know you don't like to give time, release dates, but just kind of an overview of the roadmap.
Sure. Well, yeah, multi-coin wallet is obviously one of the hugest parts of our roadmap. It'll launch with Bitcoin, Divi, and fiat currencies, Costa Rican colones, US dollars, and euro. And we'll add more altcoins as well as fiat currencies over time. One of which is Litecoin. We're definitely focused on that. Digibyte's another one. Their community has been super supportive of us, so we're of course looking at that, and a bunch of others. What's nice is once the Divi 2.0 application suite is out and all of the fun features with the banking stuff and atomic swaps and all of those things are out and running, we can focus on some of the really fun stuff for the roadmap in 2020, which I'll be actually publishing the full roadmap. I don't know when this airs, but February 1st on our website. Some of the coolest stuff that you're going to see is our software development kit, which uses our atomic swap framework to extend the blockchain into having smart contracts of sorts. We may even extend it to be more Turing complete, like Solidity or something like that. But that's to be determined. Of course, we'll refactor a lot of the blockchain, so we'll have a lot more features coming out, enhancements, and code cleanup over the course of 2020. But really, a big part of it is going to be engaging new communities, adding more coins. And to do that, we build out a new explorer that makes things a lot easier to read, as well as an integration framework. So you don't have to reach out to us necessarily and pay us to list on the app. That's not like a revenue stream for us necessarily. We want a lot of coins to be engaging with Divi and our application suite. So we're going to provide all the tools to do that. And of course, there's a ton of other stuff, but check on February 1st and you can see more.
I knew it was coming out. I didn't know it was that soon. Yeah, it's really, like I'd said, I felt like I was a little late in coming to the party because I had, friends that were talking about this, a month or 2 months ago. But you guys have been working on this for over 2 years.
Yeah.
But I think we're at this point in the development in the project. It's really, really exciting. And from the tokenomic standpoint of it, which I know you guys don't like to talk about, it has performed so well over the past year. And really, this is the point where kind of the rubber's going to hit the road, where I think growth is going to come from technological advancement. So I'm really, really excited. I'm so excited about this. I'm really, really appreciate with Bitcoin Ben, Rice Crypto, Ken Bozak, all of them have been really, really, kind of talking my ear off about it. really, really, thank you. You know, it's but I'm super excited about Divi. I'm going to put links to their site and everything in the description. I appreciate you coming on, going over everything for
Yeah,
everybody and for me. Anything
thank
else
you.
I can go over or you want to talk about?
No, I mean, I think we covered a lot. Obviously, there's a lot to digest, and I'm happy to come back on anytime if you want to get more into the specifics of any single thing. I mean, you're right. We've kind of grown out of just being a masternode coin, like we discussed in the beginning, and we're ready to start bringing like world class technology to the masses. I think with Divi 2.0. So I'm glad that a lot of our friends like Ken and Ben and Rice, of course, and yourself are sort of seeing it as what it will become now. And I'm glad to have you guys along with us. So thank you for having me on, man.
I'm like I said, glad you're here. I really am excited. Like like when you first get into crypto, I want to like tell people about it. I've talked to my friend, Kids Crypto, because it's like, dude, this is it. These people, they know everyone's stupid. You know what I mean? They're making this. They're making this for
I
everyone
didn't
that
say that.
they're making this for everyone that tells us we're stupid. I mean, when Libra was coming out, I was like, oh, this is terrible. But it was going to be so satisfying to watch my friends who had just talked so much crap. Hey man, using a cryptocurrency, nerd. I
Yeah.
was just so ready for it, so ready for it, man. You know,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah, you guys are doing it the way that people always talked about it. Because I mean, honestly, people don't care, and it's hard. I mean, it's hard for us to understand that because we see crypto for what it is, but most people don't care if something's going to take a second longer or it's going to be 2% harder. They're going to go the other way.
100%.
Whereas if there's two coffee shops and one of it's 50 cents for coffee, the other one's $1, but they take crypto, I'm going to pay twice as much, like a sucker. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm that much, and I'm going to tell them, well, the reason I'm buying this is because you're taking crypto,
Right.
and I'll tell the other place I'm going to pay double because they're taking crypto. Maybe you should think about it because I don't want to pay double. You know what I mean? But most
Totally.
people are not like that. They're going to, go the easy route, and you guys are focusing on making it the easy route, which is awesome. All right, you
Thank you.
guys, it was good hanging out with you. I'll see you all in the next video. Remember to crush that like button, hit subscribe. It's the first time here. I can't believe I didn't go over that in the beginning, but hit subscribe if this is your first time here. You guys take care. I'll see you later.